to the Builure Pulse, your go-to destination for all things Salesforce. I'm your host, Inshu Misra, founder and director at Builure with more than 30 years of experience within the Salesforce ecosystem. Join us as we explore a day in the life of Salesforce professionals. From Salesforce DevOps architects to CRM analytics specialists, we'll uncover the insights, challenges, and triumphs that define their daily experiences. So get ready for engaging conversations, expert insights, and actionable advice to boost your Salesforce journey. Whether you're looking to advance your career, streamline your processes, or simply stay ahead of the curve, join us on this exciting exploration of the Salesforce ecosystem. Let's get started with today's episode, focusing on a Salesforce DevOps architect. This conversation would be exciting as we have a fellow Copado champion with us today, Swati Agrawal. We are so thankful to her for sharing her journey with us. So without much delay, let's talk about her. Welcome, Swati. Please introduce yourself and let us know your journey from the very beginning within the Salesforce ecosystem and particularly your experience as a Salesforce DevOps architect.
Sure, Inshu. First of all, thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts, and it's a pleasure to be part of this conversation with you. So I started my journey in 2010 working in Java. Then I moved to UI part, that is Adobe. Then fortunately, I got a chance to work with Salesforce, and then there was no looking back. So 2014, I guess my Salesforce journey started. I was into development, but I was more keen towards the DevOps side, the deployment side. Like these things intrigued me, that how people are getting, like these things are getting moved to production environment, how is it working? So I was very much interested in that. And so while doing development, I was doing a part of this as a DevOps also, as a release manager. So earlier there was no role called DevOps. It's just release manager, right? So I used to work on those two roles simultaneously. In 2018, Copado came into my life. At the first, I was just using it for myself. I was playing around the playground. And then as time passed by, my leadership, they said that since now you are very comfortable in Copado, so why don't you train our entire team? So when I was teaching these guys, I understood that since I have to train these guys, I have to know these things for myself also. Because if you're teaching someone, right, if they ask some questions, unless you know all those things, you can't help the other people out there who are training. So then I started my journey. I started doing more hands on the playground. Copado is a very good modules, right? So I started going through them, started participating in them. That's when things started changing for me. So when I started participating in the events, I noticed that there's a program called Copado Champions also, which I was not aware. So for the first time, when I nominated myself, I didn't got selected. So that was a point where I was like, where I am lagging. There's something which is not proper. I have to work on those things. So then I started talking to people. I started talking to two other Copado champions, that is Guillaume and Harry. And that's when I learned that, okay, to be a champion, it's not only your journey, you have to help others also. That's when Copado community came into my life, and I started helping the people on the community out there. And when I interacted on the community, earlier I was restricted to only my company, right, Accenture, and the people out there. But when I went to community, now community is not only like 20, 30 or 50 or 100 people. It's like thousands of people, right? So I get a chance to interact with multiple people. And from there, when you interact with other people, you get to know a lot of things, right? Since let's say I'm interacting with you, so I get to know things from your company or your culture. Likewise, I get to start talking to other people, and from there, so things started getting changed. So that is how Copado and DevOps journey came into my life.
That's great. And that's how you became the DevOps architect, because as we discussed, that it's quite a new role for you as well. So how did that happen?
So I was working with multiple clients and helping them in their pipelines. So first of all, this is not a proper role in any company, right? People do not, when it comes to especially clients, they do not think DevOps architect as a role. For them, DevOps architect is just a release manager who is just doing deployments. But this role is not only doing deployments. So as per me, this role is quite a unique one, where I get to work with like a wide of customers, and then I'm helping them. I have to understand the pipeline, right? And then I have to help them in their maturity level. So every client, when you work with them, every client is at some other maturity level. Some are at pro, some are just starting. So I get to work with a lot of clients which are at different maturity levels in the DevOps space. And then I have to help them strategize or implement some improvements for them in the release process. So it's like, instead of the usual interpretation of this like role where a DA would be directing internal development, this role is like more to, you have to scope the work for the customers and you have to give them the best practices. And every customer is different, right? Everyone has different size. Some customers, they are like just 5 people in one project. Few are like 50. So you have to consider all those things and you have to create a pipeline for them. And one big thing which I've noticed till now, though DevOps is growing, it's not only DevOps. People has to know Agile also. Agile and DevOps, they both go hand in hand. That is what I've noticed till now, that since DevOps is a niche or it's a talk of the town, everybody just want to go with DevOps. But when they say DevOps, they're not actually using DevOps. They are somewhere in between, like waterfall, Agile. So you have to first understand what is Agile and then what is the proper definition of DevOps. And then only you can have a proper, like a DevOps practice set for you.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. And that's something that I've also noticed in my experience as well. Like, as you mentioned, people always call someone working in the DevOps space as release manager, which is like, I'm like, you're not only managing the releases, you're also managing the operations side of it. You're also helping the development team to understand how the operations work and what do you need and how do you communicate with each other. And that's when you actually set up your proper DevOps practice. And that's a really good point that you raised. So would you be able to walk us through a typical day in your role working as a Salesforce DevOps architect? Because, like we mentioned, people always think of DevOps as something related to the releases. So what are some key tasks or responsibilities that you handle regularly?
Okay. So first of all, being a DevOps architect, it's not only working on the releases. That's a myth which I want to clear out, that it's not only the releases which you work on. DevOps architect role is like much more about you have to lay down a process for the client, right? Let's say a client is 5 teams. What I have noticed till now in my career, people, they do not know the word DevOps properly. Typically how client is there. One team is in India, one team is in US, one team is in like some other country, right? So ideally there should be one process, no matter from how many countries your project is operating, right? Be it India, be it US, process should be same. That is the biggest part in my like day-to-day life also. So when I work with clients, this is the first thing which I set up. Every client, the example which I just now gave, right? Every client, they have their own practice for as per the country. So let's say in India, there's one person who is following their own process. In US, the person is following their own process. So if you're talking about DevOps, right? If you want to reach the DevOps maturity level, then you can't go, I'll go my way, you go your way, right? There should be a proper process where everyone is following one proper process. There cannot be multiple processes. It is as simple as that. So one thing is setting this thing up, which is not very easy task, because when there are multiple people involved, right, they don't understand. And since they are in the mindset of doing this thing from very long time, right? So you can't change things in a single day. So that is when a DevOps architect roles comes in. In the start, whenever I join any project, I take like a month or so to understand what is the process, how they are currently operating. Meanwhile, I try to create process for them. And my how I do is, I don't let's say I've got 20 points that this is the improvement point for the customer. So I'll not give 20 points in the first day itself, that hey, 20 points, you have to start from tomorrow. No, I don't do that way. So what I prefer, I give simple practices, like one by one. So let's say we set up one practice, okay, and we'll do it for 1 month or so. And then when we see that, okay, the developers, the clients, they are now comfortable with it, then we bring the second one. So if you give multiple changes in one go, nobody will accept that, right? That is what my way of working. I give them practices as time goes by, and that's how I help the clients in the maturity levels. And since you want to know my typical day, right, how typical day goes on, so typical day starts with the scrum calls. Okay, So first I have to attend the scrum calls of whatever client I'm working. Then I have a list of mine, right? That these are the tasks I have to work for the client. So then those things are there. Apart from that, since the system is not very mature, right? I keep on digging that, okay, what all other things we can improve. So I keep on preparing a list also that, okay, these are the things which we have to do in the future for this client. And then typical, the release role also, right? You can't deny that since you are DevOps architect, you will not do deployments. You have to do deployments. You have to train the teams. Be it any tool, be it Copado, Flossom, any tool, right? You have to train the team on how to use. So that is also a biggest part where I have to help the teams to understand the tool, train them in the tool. And again, evenings are again the calls timing. So it's ARB call, the change control. So yeah, that's a typical day in my life.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, it always involves so many calls. When you're working in Agile, you have to communicate with all your team members. So yeah, it's actually a process, not only, what you are working on, but how you are training, as you said, how you're training your team members, how you're communicating what you are working on. That is also important. So yeah, thank you for sharing your typical day. And like we talked about all the features, all the products that we use to solve our DevOps issues. And as we know that Salesforce is an ever-changing ecosystem. So how do you stay updated on the latest Salesforce features and updates? And do you have any best practices that you follow to ensure that you're leveraging the platform to its fullest potential?
Yes, definitely. So you said it correctly. Salesforce is a ever-changing environment. You can't say that, okay, I've learned Salesforce, now I'm done for lifetime. No, you have to stay updated, right? Because gone are the days where people just learn Java and they are done, right? That, okay, now I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. Learning is now gone. But with Salesforce, not even with Salesforce, anyway, in the current market, you have to stay updated. No matter how busy you are, you have to take time for your learning also, right? Unless if you don't take time for your own learning, then you can't help others also. So that is one thing. I take out at least an hour or two daily for myself to go through the latest things. So Salesforce has a lot of trailhead, right? Whenever they come with any updates, they just bring out the release notes. So yeah, I do go through them. There are other portals are there, Salesforce Ben is there, then Apex Arts are there, right? So I go through them to understand what is going on new. Apex Arts especially I follow because they literally have very good training materials, be it Omni Studio, CPU. So they explain it in a very nice way. So I go through these websites where I keep myself updated. So yeah, I keep at least 2 hours for me to learn new things and to stay updated with all these new features.
Yeah, that's a great strategy, actually. You have to spend some time in your own learning journey, and you have to keep yourself updated because, every other day there is a new certification that you have to do, and there are some changes happening. So it's not only about the certification, it's about how the platform is changing, evolving. And if you don't understand it, you won't be able to solve customers' issues. And so that's up to us that how we keep ourselves updated to effectively serve our customers. And yeah, so that's a good strategy. Thank you for sharing that. So, would you be able to share a few challenges and you came across in your career? And is there your like you said, 2 hours learning strategy? Do you have any other strategy that you follow to overcome the challenges that you face?
Sure. So I am from CS background, but I don't learn coding. I don't love coding. So that is when, so as I mentioned, right, I started my journey with Java, but since I don't love coding, I do not enjoy the work. So when I used to get assignments, I do on time, but again, I was not feeling happy that what is this I'm doing? And since then you are fresher, right? You don't have much options. Whatever option is given, you have to work. So that is when I was struggling to come out from that space so that I get something where it makes me go to work, right? Because when I was in Java, I was like, I have to go, right? It was not like that, okay, I'm excited to go to work. So that is when I was struggling to learn another tool, or I was coming just navigating that, okay, which path should I take? That's when there was some struggle, and then Salesforce came into my life. So yeah, when it came to Salesforce, I was literally excited. And when the release management thing came to my life, that is when I was like, oh yes, this is my area. where I have to work. So that is the path. But in that I was not aware that it's only earlier it's only changed it, right? There was not much awareness.
Mm,
So that is
yeah.
the area where I was struggling that okay, I
Mm,
know this is the area I have to work, but what all
mm,
things I have to know to work as a release manager. So that is where I struggled a little bit. But yeah,
mm,
things kept improving, and then I started getting the learning, which as I said, right, I used to learn. I used to spend
mm,
2 hours daily. So that's when
yeah.
it helped me a lot. I used to attend these seminars of like Salesforce webinars also have, right? So I used to attend
Mm,
these things. And from when I get to know a lot about release management, that what all things you need to know.
mm,
Today, people just ping me, right? Since Copado is growing, right? So everybody wants
yeah.
to join Copado. So my
Mm,
one thing to everyone is, it's not only Copado. Copado is a
mm,
Salesforce tool, right? So you have to learn
mm,
Salesforce first of all. Then you need
yeah.
to know Git. It's not only that,
Yeah.
okay, I learned Copado, how to click deploy, how to click, it's done. No, it's not like that. You have to
Mm,
know the proper path that, okay,
mm,
if you want to use Copado, how you'll go through. So first you have to learn Salesforce. That is the first path. Second is you have to learn Git also, right? Copado is again
mm,
a Git based, right? Version control is
yeah.
there. So you need to
Yeah.
understand the basics of Git, how version control works. So that is again a learning area you have to work on. So
Mm,
yeah, that's the path you have to take. And same thing was for me also. When I started, there was no one to guide me that okay, what is the path you need
mm,
to take. So like doing hands-on, doing this troubleshooting, and then I learned okay, it's not only Salesforce will help me. I need to learn Git
mm,
also, because since I was
yeah.
just working as a developer, right, I was not aware of
Mm,
Git thing a lot. So then I
yeah.
started learning Git, and that's when the path got clearer that okay, this is the path I have to follow. So yeah, that's the
Mm,
three things you need. Like first of all, basics of Git. It's you can't do
yeah.
anything without Git. Then Salesforce, of course, you're working in a Salesforce deployment tool, right? So you need to know
Mm,
at least the basics of Salesforce. And then
yeah.
again, the whatever tool you're using, Bitcapado, Flossom, whatever tool, GitHub Action, you need to learn the tool to its core. So then only you can use the tool properly.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes sense. So like it comes down to, clearing your concepts first before,
Yeah.
diving deep down and learning a tool. So Salesforce is also based on, we always use software development lifecycle as a core. So you need to understand that. You need to understand the concepts. Then you need to understand how that platform uses those concepts, and then only you can, start learning any other tool that are providing you the platform to hone your skills, be it DevOps, be it process management, be it program management. So but you need to understand how, as you said, the basics of all those tools and technologies
Yeah,
to grow,
true.
and that's a really good strategy.
Like I remember my COVID time. So
Mm,
when COVID hits us, our life, right? We
mm,
were clueless, right,
mm,
at what we need to do.
yeah,
So that time I also spent my multiple hours in like seeing all the movies. I'm
yeah.
a Harry Potter fan, so I completed my Harry Potter series again, then Mahabharat, Ramayan, and then I was like, for how long this can go? For how long I can
Yeah.
just see these movies or this? I have to do
Mm,
something, right? That's when
yeah.
it's like okay, I have to spend my time in studying. So COVID time was the one where I literally used to spend like on the weekends like 15 hours also in studying only. So my husband used to like see his movies and I was like no, I have to study. So I used to sit in different room and then I used to sit literally like from 9 a.m. I start my day and then till 10, 11, 12. I don't remember time also. So I just keeping like goes on learning things. That is when that was helped me. The COVID time literally helped me to grow.
Yeah, that's true. Like most of us, yeah, including me, initially when COVID hit, I was also, watching all the movies. As you said, I also completed Harry Potter again. And then I was like, now what? Existential crisis. And then we were like stuck in the, worst form of lockdown that ever existed in Melbourne. So we had nowhere to go. And that's when I also started studying. And if you'll see, all my certifications are from that time only. Because like we literally had nothing to do because I am a traveler. I want to explore. And like you said, like those were the things that were missing from our life. And we were like just like clueless what's gonna happen. And it was you, as mentioned in the Harry Potter series, dark ages.
Yes.
So But yeah, but it's good that you use that time in, brushing up your skills and learning new skills and, learning a new technology. And I remember the first Copado champion cohort was in 2021 only, like just like right when we were in the middle of those lockdowns. So yeah, and it actually helped me also. I also got to learn about Copado during that lockdown period. So
Yeah, that's
that,
great.
yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And yeah, everyone has their own journeys, but yeah, if you're using your time and learning, it's gonna help you like if not now, it is certainly going to help you in the future. So keep
Yeah,
learning.
true.
Yeah, coming to, learning, and as we all know, Salesforce is known for its diverse certifications. There are so many certifications. So can you share insights into your certification journey and how it has impacted your career?
Sure. So my Salesforce journey actually started in 2014 or 15. I don't remember exactly.
Mm, mm.
So earlier we used to have one certification which is no more there now. It's force.com something something. I forgot the name also.
Developer, yeah, developer,
Yeah,
Dev
something.
401.
Yeah, Dev 401, right. We just no more
Yeah.
this now. Yeah, so that was the
Mm,
first certification. So
mm.
a certification, first of all, you have to pay $200, right, from your pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is one thing that, okay, if you fail the certification, that $200 is gone. Company's not gonna
Yeah.
reimburse, right? That is
Mm,
that was the first like thing which made me work towards certification, that okay, I have to clear in first attempt. I can't let
yeah.
my $200 go in vain, because obviously in 2014-15 when I started my journey, right, I was not
Mm,
learning, like the salary is not too much, right, that you can just
mm,
let your $200 go in vain. So that is the first thing. So that's my startup journey for certification. And then there were a lot of like Salesforce has multiple parts, right? Here it's was mostly sales and service. All those things
mm.
like data, cloud, marketing, they came into picture now. Earlier it's
Yeah,
only sales, service, and we have PD2. Admin path was there, then advanced
yeah.
admin, all those things. So started
Mm,
through them, admin, and then I was more into like service, how the service cloud work.
yeah.
So I started preparing for my service cloud. First attempt I failed. That was my first certification which I failed, which again made me think that what did went wrong, where I need to work
Mm,
on. So I started
mm,
looking into those points that okay, which are the areas I need to again work on. So I
mm,
again started preparing, and I gave my exam on some date I don't remember. After exactly I same day I booked my exam again after exactly
mm,
1 month, and that 1 month I again literally went through everything which Salesforce has for Service Cloud, which
mm,
helped me a lot because the next project which I got was luckily on Service Cloud.
yeah.
So yeah, so when you learn the tool, it never goes away. It helps you in some point of your career always. And then we have this architect journey. So then my architect journey
Mm,
started. I completed my development and deployment design certification, which helped me in clearing the interview also.
yeah, and that's great. And that's a good insight, actually. Like you have to decide when your growth is stagnant, and
Yeah,
you have to take that right step at the right time. And fortunately for you, what you were learning helped you in your next project. And it's really brave of you to share your journey of failure, like how you failed the exam at first, but then you learned more about it and you became more serious about it. So for Service Cloud, I also failed at my first attempt. So that was the first certification that I failed. After that incident, when I worked on my next assignment, it helped me, develop and work on my architecture skills as well. So like you said, you just don't have to sit back and dwell on your failures. You just need to move on and focus on what you can achieve in the future. So thank you
yeah,
for
true.
sharing that. Yeah, so like we're coming to an end. I was just like, I want to ask, from your perspective, what trends do you see on the horizon for Salesforce professionals? And if you want to share an advice to with someone who's entering the field, and how they can prepare well to enter the Salesforce ecosystem, or maybe if they're looking for their next career option, what are the strategies that they could follow?
Sure. So as we already discussed, Salesforce is a very big. It's not only sales service, right? It's literally
Mm,
a vast sea. So to enter the C, first of all, you again have to know the basics, the concept.
Yeah.
You need to know what is Salesforce, why Salesforce came into existence. That is the important thing that you need to understand. And then there are a lot of career paths in Salesforce. They have data cloud, marketing, right? BA, business analysis there. Then we have architect journey. So you have to select that which is the thing which makes you excited to work, right? For someone, it can be marketing. For someone, it can be the business analyst thing. So choose a path wisely. And then Salesforce has a lot of like training material. Go through them, prepare for certifications. Don't take shortcuts. Use, if you want to switch a career, right? So let's say I get this question a lot, that especially from the call center people, they want to switch to Salesforce. And since you want to switch, right? Salesforce is a new world for you. So now for you, it is more important to understand the basics. So first learn on the basics and then decide a journey that, okay, where I want to go. And then again, take the path, whatever you want to prefer, and dedicate yourself for studying. It's not only that, okay, I've decided, now I'll take my own sweet time. Fix a time frame, right? That, okay, in this time frame, I have to enter in this field. Otherwise, it's like if you don't have a timeline, you will not ever be serious, right? So you have to be serious. You have to give your time. I know people who are like already working in some other field and want to switch, they have time crunch, but you have to like make your day in a way that you at least give 2 hours a day daily to your studies. Then only you can get yourself prepared and switch. So yeah, that's my one thing to everyone who want to learn Salesforce, want to enter in this world. Just clear the basics and be dedicated.
And follow that 2 hours rule that Swati has followed and succeeded in her journey. So you can also follow her path and, dedicate 2 hours from your day or maybe your week, depending on your lifestyle. And by dedicating the 2 hours on your learning journey, you can always, build another career within the Salesforce ecosystem. So yeah, thanks for sharing that advice. That's really good. And thanks, Swati, so much for coming on board and sharing your journey with us. And we really love this conversation. I hope all the listeners, you also enjoy listening to this conversation. And if you want to know more about what we discussed about what Copado is, you can find all those links in the description. Just go and have a look. Thank you so much, Swati. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for tuning into the Builure Pulse. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as I did. If you found value in today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review on your preferred platform. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners like you. Follow us on our socials for more resources and updates on upcoming episodes. The conversation doesn't end here. Join us on social media, join the Builure community to continue the discussion and connect fellow Salesforce enthusiasts. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep growing in the world of Salesforce. Thank you for listening.